Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. We are starting set 22 reveals today, and we are going to make a lot of people happy because we're going over the new green Broly archetype in today's video. I think this stuff is going to make a lot of players very happy because, I don't know, guys, it seems really good. Like, it took Bandai probably the better part of 2 years to finally hear us, but they have turned the tide on green in a really massive way, and both green archetypes in set 22 so far look really good. I don't know, that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but these cards read really well. We'll go over them today, and I'll point out some things you guys might need to know for this archetype. If you're new, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and let's jump right on in because we have a lot of reading to do. So we have the unawakened side of the leader, Broly and Paragus. Activate main, add up to 1 Broly or Paragus, both green with energy cost of 1 from your deck to your hand. Shuffle your deck and negate this skill for the game. Ultra consistent, very good. Activate main if you have 2 or more energy and you have a skillless Broly in play. Draw 2 cards, add cards from life to hand until you have 6 life left, and flip over. Okay, so we don't generate advantage on the unawakened side except for that 1 activate main, which is honestly more or less okay because by turn 2 you should be able to awaken. So awaken at least 4 or less, draw 1 card, switch one of your energy to active mode. SS Broly, Devil of Destruction. We have permanent. Your red green multicolor Brolys in all areas get -1 combo cost and -5,000 combo power. So you play a bunch of red greens in your deck and you basically don't have the drawback except for energy exhaust, which if you build your deck correctly shouldn't really be a problem either. So this is going to be a multicolor deck that basically functions as a monocolor deck, which is really good. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. Additionally, you may place 1 green card from your battle area in your drop. If you do, this card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. There's gonna be a lot of things we want to put in our drop as a result of this, and you can also abuse quite a few things with this effect, such as Zarbon Cosmic Elite. That's an old blocker promo that when it's placed in the drop by any skill, your opponent discards a card if they have 5 or more cards in hand. So that's just one example. There are many things you can do with this, and you can get very creative. So I urge you guys to do that. If you actually have something really strong to abuse this leader with, drop it down in the comments and let's talk about it. But anyways, we have the Z leaders. We have a 2 Z energy cost. We're a 20k leader, which is always incredible. It's a Z awaken for free, as in no energy, but your life has to be at 3 or less, and you have to have Broly's Ring and Dormant Legend in your drop. Then permanent, your red-green multicolor Brolys in all areas get -1 combo cost. They don't lose the combo power, however, so now all your red-greens are just 0 10k combos. That's even better. Permanent, during a battle in which your Broly card is attacking a battle card, your opponent can't activate counters, and when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Additionally, you may place 1 green card from your battle area in your drop. If you do, this card gets plus 10k power for the turn. Another thing to note here is that this is a really strong way to abuse unique cards. So I can't think of any off the top of my head, but if there are any just good like 1 cost or any generic unique green cards that you want to be abusing in this deck, having the leader get them off the board to then allow you to play another copy from your hand can be very good. So one more thing I wanted to point out there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next slide of cards, though. So we have some Z deck stuff. So firstly, we have Gigantic Meteor of Destruction. So this is a new mechanic we haven't talked about yet here on the channel, and this is Z extra cards. Now, we don't have all the rules for how this is going to work, but based on how all the Z extra cards read, it seems like they go into your battle area and they stay there. So they're not like normal non-field extra cards, as in those would normally just go right to the drop upon being activated and used, but these seem to go into your battle area and stay there until you use their remove from game effect. So let's see what Gigantic Meteor of Destruction does. Activate battle limit 1, remove this card from the game, then choose one of your cards and it gets plus 10k power for the battle. When an opponent's battle card is KO'd by that battle, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. Activate battle limit 1 if you have 4 or more energy. Your Broly is in a battle in which it's attacking a battle card, and you remove this card from the game. Your card that's in a battle gets plus 30,000 power for the turn. Additionally, if an opponent's battle card is KO'd by that battle, you may place 1 of your Z energy in your drop at the end of the battle. If you do, your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. So it really plays into that whole attacking battle cards gimmick that this deck seems to want to lean in, but it does give you a really big payoff. Like for 1 energy, you're making your opponent discard 2 cards. That's very good, and we know that the leader doesn't allow our opponent to counter when we attack with battle cards. At least our Z leader doesn't, so that's really good. Then we have S3 Broly Tyrant, 2 energy, 2 Z energy, 20k battle card, unique. Permanent, when this card would be played from your Z deck, instead of paying this card's energy cost and Z energy cost, you may place 1 non-unique green card from your battle area in your drop and pay a green and 1 Z energy. So as long as you sacrifice 1 battle card, which again is a very, very abusable mechanic in this deck. You're able to basically make this a 1-to-1 energy Z energy cost card, which is a great rate for a 20k. Auto once per turn. If you have 4 or more energy, when a battle card is placed in a drop, this card gets plus 5,000 power and double strike for the turn. Activating once per turn. If you have 3 or more energy, you place 1 non-unique card from your battle area in your drop, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and KO it. So super solid for a 1 Z energy cost play, which it should be most of the time. All right, we have a bunch of 1-drops. Broly simply searches top 5 for a Broly or a Paragus, and both these Paragus share an activate main that says if your leader is a green Broly card, you have a Broly in play. Play this card from your hand. You can't play Paragus cards for the turn. Now, the Strategist has an auto when this card's played, draw 1, then activate 1 Broly's Ring from your hand. The Paragus Beginnings of Ambition has an auto that says when this card's played, choose 1. You can either activate a Broly's Ring from your deck and shuffle, or look at top 5, add a green Broly to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So honestly, I don't think you need like all these 1-drops. It's definitely quite a bit overkill. The one that's important in my opinion is probably Paragus Beginnings of Ambition, because it lets you just grab Broly's Ring right from the deck, as opposed to the Strategist making you have it in your hand, right? Like, why wouldn't you just want to pull it out of your deck? That seems a whole lot better. And if you do have Broly's Ring in your hand, you can then just search top 5 for a Broly if you want. So I think Beginning of Ambition is definitely the most important one here, but you do want to have a Broly in play in order to play these cards for free. So you probably want to play Broly Lone Warrior. There's also the OG 1-drop Broly from like set 1 or 2. I think it's set 1. That looks at top 7, adds any Broly. So that's also an option if you don't care about searching Paraguses, which your leader's able to do. So maybe you want to play the Broly that looks top 7, adds any Broly, and then just like use your leader ability to search Paragus from the deck. That might be an even better combo than using Broly Lone Warrior, but just a thought on my end. All right, then we have Broly and Paragus, Father Son of Vengeance. 1 cost 4k. When this card's played, activate 1 Broly's Ring from your deck or drop, and shuffle your deck if you look through it. So that's one thing that's kind of annoying about this deck. There's just so many 1-drops. I think it could lead to a lot of confusion. Like, this card might seem exactly similar to the last Paragus we read, but this one can't be played for free via its own effect, which might actually be a really big deal. It does have a cool effect though. Activate main once per turn, discard 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 red-green multicolor Broly, the energy cost of 6 from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck, which is actually very relevant to get those Brolys into your hand for effects that we'll see in just a second. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure on like what split you should play of this card versus the last Paragus we read, but they both seem good for different reasons. Now we have Sealed Super Warrior, a 1-cost field card. This card is also treated as Broly's Ring in all areas. It's super, super important. Next, we have Activate Main. If you have a Paragus card in play and you switch this card to Rest Mode, choose 1 Broly battle card and negate its skills for the turn. Don't forget, that's how we awaken on our unawakened side of our leader. Auto for a green. If your leader is a green Broly card and this card from your battle area in Rest Mode is placed in your drop, play 1 red-green multicolor Broly, the energy cost of 6 from your hand. So you can see the importance of Father Son Vengeance searching a red-green Broly if you didn't happen to draw it. However, once again, this thing costs energy to play, as where the previous Paragus doesn't. But hey, if you just want to forego playing a Broly 1-drop, you can just play this, go right into your field card. The field card should be able to negate the skills of Father Son of Vengeance, since it's also a Broly, and that alone gets you awakened. So this actually might just be the best 1-drop to play, and especially since your leader just grabs it right from the deck. I mean, this is probably the ideal turn 1 play now that I'm thinking about it. Then we have Dormant Super Warrior. So we have a 1-cost field. We have permanent. This card's also treated as Dormant Legend in all areas. If your leader is a green Broly card, you have 3 or more energy. When this card's placed in the owner's drop from a battle area, play 1 SS Broly Glacial Awakening from your deck, hand, or drop. If you looked at your deck, shuffle your deck. Okay, so this kind of gets into the gimmick of this whole strategy, which is like field card replacement, somewhat similar to King Cold. And you know, there's been quite a few green decks now that have revolved around field cards in this way. But this deck does seem to do it rather efficiently. Basically, just play field card over field card over field card, and you'll be able to activate all these different field effects. Plus, there's also obviously your leaders that are able to put your fields in your drop area. So you can even like get creative with the deck building here. If you don't want to play the Dormant Legend package, you can just play the Broly's Ring engine here and like open up more deck space for generic stuff. But I do think what these two fields offer are both very good. So now let's take a look at some of our red-green Brolys. We have SS Broly Glacial Awakening, 4 cost 20k, energy exhaust, deflect, permanent. If you have a green Broly in your energy or battle area, then negate this card's energy exhaust in all areas, which is super important to kickstarting your red-green energy. Auto, discard 1 card from your hand. When this card's played, choose one of your leaders and it gets plus 5,000 power till the end of your opponent's turn. So a nice little Senzu Bean-esque effect, which is always appreciated in an arrival strategy. Then we have Estus Broly, The Nightmare Begins. 6 cost, 30k. When this card's played, this card gains critical for the turn. Additionally, if you have 3 or more energy, you may choose one of your Paragus cards and place it in your drop. If you do, during that turn, this card can attack a battle card in active mode. Auto once per turn when an opponent's battle card is KO'd by this card's attack, switch this card to active mode. Again, remember your Z leader prevents your opponent from negating this thing's attack at a battle card. When this card's removed from your battle area by a skill or KO'd, activate one dormant legend from your deck, hand, or drop. If you look to your deck, shuffle your deck. That's super good. I mean, this thing dies, you get to reactivate your field we read on the previous page, and then if that thing dies, that field dies, you can play another copy of Broly Glacial Awakening. Like, this is just seeming like a very strong loop here. Then we have Estus Broly Tenacious Onslaught. 8 cost, 35k, double strike. EX Evolve for a red or a green, draw a card. It goes over a red or green Broly with an energy cost of 4. And then we have Arrival for a green and an energy of any color. Auto, when this card's played, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. When an opponent's battle card is KO'd by this card's attack, draw 1 card, switch this card to active mode. Additionally, if your opponent's life's at 2 or more and your opponent has 3 or more energy, deal 1 damage to them. So I very much appreciate how this cannot deal the final damage. However, burning your opponent to 1 is still very, very strong. We know that from the Cumber SCR being a very good card. Now we have the final like field card engine, I guess you can say. We have Jaguar's Island. So it's a 1 cost field permanent. Your opponent's leader gains the following skill. Activate main for 2 energy. Choose 1 field in your opponent's battle area and place it in the owner's drop. So you're giving your opponent the option to blow up this field card, which maybe as you read more stuff might be a good thing like for your opponent to give them, but it's kind of weird at first glance. Auto limit 1, when this card's placed in a battle area, add it to 1 Bio Warrior from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. When this card's placed in the owner's drop from a battle area, choose all your Bio Warrior cards and place them in the drop. Okay, so I guess that gives the opponent the out. Like if you are able to somehow spam the board full of Bio Warriors, your opponent can pay 2 and just get rid of all your Bio Warriors. That is like, I guess, some sort of balancing mechanic they implemented into the card. Then we have Bio Broly Out of Control Monster. So we have a unique blocker. Permanent, this card can't be played from any area unless you have a Jaguar's Island in your battle area and you have a Broly card with an energy cost of 8 in your drop. This card can't be removed from battle area by skills other than Jaguar Island skills. Okay, so this thing is sticking around unless you choose to blow up that field. Activate main, if your leader is a Broly card, you have 3 or more energy, play this card from your hand. Okay, we're treading some dangerous waters here because this is a free play 25k. Yes, it does take a fair amount of setup, but yeah, that's quite powerful. And it also basically has better barrier. It just can't leave the board unless this field leaves the board, which might be kind of insane. Bio Warrior Artificial Beings. 3 cost, 15k. Permanent, this card can't be played from any area unless you have a Jaguar's Island in your battle area. Auto, when this card's played, add up to 1 Bio Warrior card from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then activate main for a green if your leader's green. Play this card from your hand. Okay, that seems like an insane loop. So you play Jaguar's Island, you search Bio Warrior Artificial Beings, then you play Artificial Beings, which lets you search another Bio Warrior from your deck. So you can search Out of Control Monster. So for 2 energy, you play the field, you play the 15k Bio Warrior, and you play the free Bio Broly Out of Control Monster that just can't be removed unless the field goes away. That is seemingly very, very strong. So what I was thinking originally was that you could play this deck in a very creative way where you lean into maybe some of the field stuff. You don't have to lean into all of it. And at this point, there doesn't seem to be any reason why you'd have to lean into all the field card stuff if you didn't want to. But honestly, it all seems kind of good, and you can see how it all loops into each other. You're supposed to play field after field after field, and it gives you that real, like, cool, nostalgic feeling of, like, going through all of Broly's sagas in one deck. That is, on its own, very, very neat. The one downside to all that is that you might have to play a lot of, like, somewhat dead extra cards in your deck. That might be really unfortunate. So that'll definitely be a deck building challenge we'll have to figure out when we start putting this together. But it's still definitely very interesting how you don't have to play all the field card stuff if you don't want to. Like, at the very least, I think you're playing for sure the new Broly's Ring and the new Dormant Legend. I think those are for sure includes in the deck. This stuff might be a little bit of a reach, again, just because you got to include the Jaguar's Island, and the Jaguar's Island's not super searchable. So that might be a tough one, but the rest of it seems insanely good. Now, let's go ahead and check out some of the older stuff. Now, there's so much old green Broly support that you can play in this deck. I would just be here forever if I went through all of it. So definitely go on DBS Deck Planet, check out the card database, and look for all that stuff. But I wanted to point out these specific cards. So we have Broly Demonic Origins, which is one of our check lands. It happens to be a Broly, so in this deck it costs 0 to combo, which is great. And once you're able to charge your first copy of Glacial Awakening, this thing ignores Energy Exhaust. So like I was saying before, Energy Exhaust in this deck should not really be much of an issue. Then we have Broly Tragedy Foretold. Now if you play the Dormant Legend package in this deck, you get to play this card, and honestly this is one that I'm super excited about. I've always loved this card. It just looks incredible, and it's got powerful effects. It minuses 15k ignoring barrier, and it denies your opponent's combos, which is also a great thing to have in this Z Energy format. And then you have S3 Scramble, Raditz, Vegeta, and Broly. It kind of just goes in line with the whole burn idea that the new 8-drop in the deck is allowing you to do. Although like this thing costs a whole lot of energy, so this might not be the most efficient or best SCR for this deck, but it's still an option for sure. And like I said, there's so much other Broly stuff that you can play in this deck. I definitely implore you to go and check it all out because it's too much for me to go over in this video. When I eventually do a deck profile for this, I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of that stuff then. But overall, like, this stuff seems really good. I think green players are gonna be very, very happy for quite some time to come, and especially Broly players are gonna be over the moon. I think this deck looks very, very strong. So overall, guys, I want in the comments below what you think about this deck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.